which means you owe me his debt. If that girl is anything you say she is, then we'll call it even. I have no patience when it comes to collecting. Now I suspect you'll bring me that girl right away. You boys can leave either through the window or the stairs.
Okay, we'll take the stairs. We always take the stairs. Yeah, thanks to you. Lenny, what? You mad at me? I'll be mad on the way down these stairs.
Cause of death looks like OG.
Overgone.
I wonder how he went to the bathroom with all this stuff on him.
How much for an order of ribs?
$2.50.
$2.50? Let me get one.
Right on. One order ribs.
No. One rib. You got change for 100?
Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies Podcast, show where we review the best and not so best of 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey,
Jasmine.
Doctor.
And
we're back with another interesting episode. Interesting for us, I guess, or actually pretty much just par for the course for us, wouldn't you say?
This is
kind of our thing.
This is our wheelhouse.
Yeah, this is where we live.
This is where we live.
Mm-hmm.
Watching this entire film going, yep, it's one of those things where just like,
yep.
How did we not get to this?
Yeah.
Sooner?
How did we not get to this, and because it sounds like, how did we both not see this movie? Like,
in our collective history?
Yeah. Like, this seems so strange that I've never seen this movie, all things considered. I'm not quite sure, especially considering my love for In Living Color. You would have think that I would have passed on this, considering half the cast is in it.
Yes.
Not just his family. Other members of the cast are in this movie.
Because the entire Wayans family is in this film.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing, right? And, like, the entire Wayans family showed up in Living Color, but also a character, an actress that I didn't know was in this movie that showed up in the 5th season after all the Wayans had left. And she was in that show, too. Just random happenstance. But, with that being said, we are talking about I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka, from January 11th, 1989. Yes, that's how we're going to say it, because that's how you do say it. It's written that way. So, yeah, this is a very, very interesting film. So I guess without further ado, let us jump back in the Wayback Machine to 1989. Eventually. So here we are. It's 1989. I'm almost 8.
I'm 1.
Yeah. As it turns out, I was not actually watching this movie. Was not aware it existed.
Me too.
Yep.
Like all 1-year-olds would watch.
Yeah. Well, you know.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's great family viewing, really. But, yeah. So, there is that. So, without further ado, I guess you could say. So, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka, January 11th, 1989. Written and directed by Keenan Ivory Wayans. Produced by Eric L. Gold. Production company, United Artists. Distributor, MGM UA Communications Company. Box office of $13 million against a budget of $3 million. So this was profitable.
Mm-hmm.
Not much, but profitable. So the cast is Keenan Ivory Wayans as Jack Spade. John Witherspoon is Reverend at Junebug's funeral.
I love that that's second billing. He's in one scene.
Well, this is just what Wikipedia told me, so I don't know if it's actually second billing. I can't remember if it was or not.
No, yeah.
Is it really?
So. Well, maybe not. I can't remember the actual credits.
I don't either.
At the top of the film.
Bernie Casey is John Slade. Jeanette Dubois is Belle Brown Spade. Isaac Hayes is Hammer. Jim Brown is Slammer. Antonio Fargas is Fly Guy. Steve James is Kung Fu Joe. John Vernon is Mr. Big. Dawn Lewis is Cheryl Spade. Kadeem Hardison is Willie. Damon Wayans is Leonard. Kim Wayans is the nightclub singer. Nadia Wayans is bar patron. Chris Rock is a rib joint customer. Anne Marie Johnson is Cherry. Eve Plum is Kalinga's wife, which is hilarious. Just so hilarious. Tony Cox is Wayne Evans. Hawthorne James is One-Eyed Sam. Clarence Williams III is Kalinga. David Allen Greer is the newsman, and Robin Harris is the bartender.
See, it's weird that David Allen Greer is credited as newsman because he has a name in the film.
He does, but he's still credited as newsman.
Skip Allen.
Yeah, but I don't know why they decided to go that way, but they did. It's really strange.
Granted, again, one scene. A lot of these people are in.
They're
one
in and out.
scene.
Yeah.
A lot of cameos.
So, the production of this movie. Keenan Ivory Wayans met Robert Townsend during his first set performing at the Improv in New York, who helped him learn about the comedy business. Townsend and Wayans drove cross-country to Los Angeles together when Wayans moved to Los Angeles in 1980. Although, after that, they did not speak for a year. Wayans worked there as an actor. He had a regular role as a soldier on a television series named For Love and Honor. He also appeared on Hill Street Blues as a famous NFL linebacker. Townsend wrote, directed, and starred in the movie Hollywood Shuffle. Wayans was brought on to co-star and co-write. The film's success, as well as working on Eddie Murphy Raw, allowed him to raise the money to make I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. The inspiration behind the film came from Wayans, who was a fan of blaxploitation films, and his childhood spent growing up watching these films as they made up the majority of black films on the movie screen during the 1960s and 70s. Sitting with friends and making fun of the genre struck the idea for the film. Eddie Murphy suggested the concept of a blaxploitation comedy parody in this and its title, which just makes me laugh. Like, Eddie Murphy's the first one who said it, and just like that, I just want to be in there for that conversation. Once Wayans earned enough credibility to have his film picked up by a studio and a budget of $3 million, Wayans filmed his debut feature film in exactly 32 days. Ron O'Neal was offered a role, but turned it down because he was tired of being typecast as Superfly. Which is fair. I can see that.
I can't be Superfly all the time. Come on, Ron, please.
Come on, just one.
One more time.
Yeah.
One more time? No. Okay.
Damn it.
And we'll go get Huggy Bear, I guess.
Pretty much.
They did.
Yeah. But I feel like that might be the conversation. It's like, well, we can't get Superfly. Let's get Huggy Bear.
Yeah, fair
That's
enough.
good enough, right? When Isaac Hayes and Jim Brown are going to the garage for their meeting, Grazing the Grass by Friends of Distinction plays on the car radio. Brown managed the group in the late 1960s.
And he probably also worked security.
That's entirely possible. Producer Peter McCarthy persuaded John Cusack, with whom he had worked before, to appear in the last big shootout scene as a delivery boy. He was shot multiple times and was burned by several of the nearly 20 squibs attached to his body. They didn't use the scene. That would have just made that a little bit better, having John Cusack in there. Me and my obsession with John Cusack, I'll be over here. Chris Rock told Reddit that he enjoyed the ribs at the rib joint and ate more off camera. So he had more than one.
Yep.
Oddly enough, though, that character actually appeared in Living Color repeatedly. They brought back that character. I think they actually ended up calling him Cheap Pete, and at no point did he claim to have $100 in the rest of them. But yeah, he would constantly come up, and he had a catchphrase on the show where it was just like, "How much for this?" And they would tell him, he's like, "That, good Lord, that's a lot of money." And then he would like make the ridiculous offer of like, give me one rib.
Funny thing about Chris Rock is I think next week's film is his actual like feature film debut. Like,
is it?
As an accredited role.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
think.
Could be. Very well could be. What year was that?
91,
91? It's entirely possible. Like, when was CB4?
After that.
Because that was the other movie I was going to pick this week. Because I love that fucking movie.
We'll get there.
Definitely. The film opened with rave responses from the black community. African-American audience members were thrilled to attend the screening of the movie filled with black actors about a black film genre. It received critical receptions that were wide-ranging and numerous in viewpoint. To the urban public, the parody film perfectly captured the era of blaxploitation films in the 1960s and 70s. Critics also noted Wayans' ability to satirically capture the era of the buck in blaxploitation films, the white man's notion of the all-powerful, brutal black man. On the other hand, Roger Ebert gave the film 1 out of 4 stars, saying, "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka" is a comedy that feeds off the blaxploitation movie, and although, like all good satires, it is cheerfully willing to be offensive, it is almost completely incapable of being funny."
If there was anyone that had the pulse of the black community,
It was Roger Ebert.
It was Roger Ebert. Good job, Roger.
Yeah, really.
And my continuing warring with a dead man on this show, apparently.
I can't say anything. I grew up watching Siskel and Ebert. I can't go at him that hard. And I'm not even a fan of film critics, but I watched that show.
It's an unfortunate running joke, I guess.
Isn't it, though? The success and style of the movie led the new Fox Broadcasting Company to approach Wayans to offer him his own show. Wayans wanted to produce a variety show similar to Saturday Night Live with a cast of people of color and took chances with his content. Fox gave Wayans a lot of freedom on the show for a while. Although Fox executives were a bit concerned about the show's content prior to his television debut, Wayans created, wrote, and starred in a show called In Living Color, an American sketch comedy television series that originally ran on the Fox network from 1990 to 1994, with Wayans leaving in the middle of the 4 seasons due to fights with Fox.
Because Fox sucks.
Do they?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Think about all the good shows you love and how Fox killed them. There's a joke on Family Guy about it.
They didn't kill Married with Children, aside from canceling it.
Yes.
But that was 11 years. I think that's fair.
That's fine, but there's a lot of shows that fell by the wayside. If you
I don't know. I like a lot of Fox shows that didn't have that problem. Like I've been recently rewatching a bunch of 21 Jump Street. I fucking love that show.
You're talking about super popular shows that everyone loved.
Yeah.
Those are unkillable. I'm talking about like Firefly and Titus and things like that.
Yeah, that is true. Titus is
is
probably one of the greatest sitcoms ever. If you don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, they kind of
also Mad TV.
Well, to be fair, I never watched Mad TV. That wasn't my bag. But but that show lasted for like 14 years. Whether it was good or bad, it still lasted a long time.
No.
In Living Color was not going any further anyway. Even though it sucks that you kick out the Wayans. That show was not going to last.
Also, Fox is notorious. Like their execs are notorious for being
idiots.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree with
and
that. Difficult
to work with.
Yes. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka was released on DVD in 2001 and broadcast by MGM HD in 2010, as well as their current streaming service.
It's also on Blu-ray.
Yeah, I didn't see a Blu-ray listing, but I'm sure it exists.
I came very close to buying it while watching the film on Amazon.
There was an attempt at a television series. On December 15th, 1990, the hour-long television pilot program called Hammer, Slammer, and Slade was shown on ABC TV. It was directed by Michael Schultz. Isaac Hayes played Jim Brown, and Bernie Casey reprised their roles as Hammer, Slammer, and... Sorry, why did I put Isaac Hayes played? Isaac Hayes, Jim Brown, and Bernie Casey played like their...
Isaac Hayes
reprised
as
their roles.
Jim Brown as Slammer.
Although, how awesome would that be? Hammer, Slammer, and Slade from the movie. Also returning were Jeanette Dubois and Steve James. Although Keenan Ivory Wayans wrote the pilot and served as executive producer, he did not appear in this pilot. Instead, the character of Jack Spade was portrayed by Eric LaSalle, who later acted in the TV series ER. Also acting in the pilot was the little-known, at the time, Martin Lawrence, in Kadeem Hardison's former role as Willie Yatidi. Bentley Kyle Evans played the role of Lenny, Willis' sidekick. Hammer, Slammer, and Slade was not sold to any TV networks, but it was shown several times in syndication.
Yeah. What I'm surprised, because I told you off mic, that wasn't going to be in any of the notes.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that someone hasn't seen this movie and then seen Black Dynamite.
Yes,
and drawn an immediate connection. Like it's a straight line.
Well, the only hesitation...
My guess is a young Michael Jai White watched this film.
Yeah.
And then some years later, obviously, look, Black Dynamite was what, in the mid-2000s, I think?
Something like that, yeah.
So he waited some time to make that movie. But it's basically the
To be fair, though, I think
it's just as ridiculous.
Black Hammer is attempting to be or Black Dynamite, sorry, Black Hammer, fucking hell.
If he wants to go and make a movie called Black Hammer, I'm
all for that.
To it.
That could be the sequel that we were promised and never got.
Yeah.
Black Dynamite does attempt to be a little more serious. It's less parody and more straight up Blaxploitation. So that would be the only hesitation I would have.
Know, there's a lot of
There is a lot, but those were in those movies. That's the thing. It wasn't like this was straight up parody. That, I think, was just, I'm going to make a Blaxploitation movie, and this is what it's going to be, because those movies were ridiculous. Yeah, they were ridiculous. They didn't quite go so far as this one did. I'm always pointed to the obvious Jewish man with the mustache being the stunt double for his mom.
Yeah.
They didn't quite do that in Black Hammer, Jesus Christ. Black Dynamite. But not far off, because, again, those movies were ridiculous. So I don't know if it was necessarily the same, but I guarantee you he probably was like, yeah, I watched that movie 1,000 times as a kid, and I got to make my own.
Either way, both great films.
Oh, absolutely.
So we do go into I'm Gonna Get You, Sucka. by traveling to any ghetto, USA.
Yes.
That is the setting of this film.
Which, not a terrible idea.
We get the cops finding a dead body.
Clu Gallagher, may I point out.
Yes.